Good afternoon and welcome to Locked On NBA Daily. On today's show, the NBA Cup Championship is tonight. Can the Knicks beat Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs? Who has the edge? And why the key to the whole matchup might surprise you.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome back to Locked On NBA Daily, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. However you're tuning in on YouTube or on your podcast app, thanks for making us your first listen every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. I'm Wes Goldberg, and today we are talking about the NBA Cup Championship game between the Knicks and the Spurs. We're going to break it all down in depth, the biggest matchup, keys to the games, and we'll make some predictions at the end of the show. And we're doing it with the help of Locked On's local experts, and I have two of the best with me, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast, senior NBA writer for the Action Network. It's Matt Moore. Matt?
For the Cup! Time for the Cup. In unrelated news, Let It Snow is the #1 power-rated Christmas song. That is the #1, Let It Snow.
From the Locked On Bulls podcast, he's also a Bears and Bulls creator for Bleacher Report. It's Haize.
There's the only thing that I love better than fall is Christmas time. So I think for the next week, you're probably going to get less petty Roosevelt Haize and more positive Haize. So there you go there.
Do you have a favorite Christmas song?
You know what? Surprisingly enough, I don't really love a lot of Christmas music. It's like Mariah Carey, Temptations, and Nat King Cole. That's about it for me.
What else do you need?
Yeah.
Some Pepper and some Michael Bublé.
Christmas album? Was I not aware of this?
Yeah, there's a Temptations Christmas album.
I'm looking this up right now. That's amazing. That's awesome.
The NBA Cup Championship is tonight. Spurs versus Knicks. A ton of interesting stuff to get to here. But in the middle of everything is Victor Wembanyama, who made his return for the Spurs win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dominated that game in limited minutes. And he may come off the bench even in tonight's game. Nobody doubts, however, the impact that he's going to make. Here's more from Gavin Shaw of Locked On Knicks and Jeff Garcia of Locked On Spurs on their crossover episode previewing tonight's game.
My first reaction to that is par for the course for opposition. We saw Caruso, they threw Caruso on Wemby, OKC. We've seen Lou Dort on him. We've seen Dylan Brooks on him. And we're more than likely going to see a Josh Hart. I think strong, physical, stocky guards give him fits just because they take away his lower center of gravity and just his ability to maybe pivot off that.
I'm curious, like Wemby's ability to guard in space and how he handles that. Like if he's on an island against Jalen Brunson, if he has to chase because Cat's doing a lot of dribble handoffs this year, how he holds up, whether or not the Spurs switch that, and what their answers are to the Knicks doing that and attacking a group of wings for the Spurs that I do think are somewhat vulnerable defensively if Wemby's not sitting back at the rim to help them.
You know, Gavin, you said all that, and my answer is weird. I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but my answer is yes, he can. Yeah. All that you said, he can defend it.
Yeah, he checks every one of those boxes. And I believe he's the best defender on the planet.
So, Matt, let's start with the Victor Wembanyama question. Is he really the matchups against Wemby's matchups against the Knicks? Is this really the key to the whole thing tonight?
No. I actually think that the big key tonight is actually De'Aaron Fox. I think De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle are the keys here. Knicks transition defense is a little bit soft. You can actually score on them. You can get downhill and their perimeter containment. If they're able to, so a big question for me is like, how far do you go in this game in regards to how you would approach a playoff game? Do you just play your stuff? Well, we'll go out there and we'll see if we win. Or are you like, this is our game plan. We're going to target this. Because if you put Brunson into those pick and rolls and you just get downhill over and over and over again, one of the advantages that they have is you have to respect Wemby's three-pointer. And so they're going to want to put, I think, Mitchell Robinson in to defend Wembanyama. But if you space him out, now Robinson's ability to protect the rim is compromised. And you get Cat and Brunson involved in pick and roll action with how good the Spurs guards are. And that they're going to eat at the rim over and over and over again. And then when you bring help, that's going to open up Victor for doing more kind of things. So for me, it's actually about the Spurs guards getting downhill to attack some of the weak points on this Knicks defense.
I don't disagree with Matt as far as the point of as far as the guards and getting out in transition and getting downhill. But then I look at how Wemby does affect that. Wemby's rebounding ability, his shot blocking is also averaging over a steal per game. As a matter of fact, the Spurs have, I think, 5 or 6 players averaging over a steal per game. So the transition offense for the Spurs is going to be hugely difficult for the New York Knicks to deal with. But I also think like Wemby's blocks and rebounds, that's also going to help them get out in transition a little bit more naturally as well. So I think it still all comes down to Wemby in a lot of ways. But I think also how effective are they in the Wemby off the court minutes, which that leads to De'Aaron Fox and the other players really stepping up. The Spurs are such a deep team. I don't know how the Knicks are going to deal with the depth of the Spurs either.
I mean, Matt, what you were touching on there too with Mitchell Robinson versus Josh Hart. So the Knicks have gone back to the Josh Hart starting lineup and bringing Mitchell Robinson off the bench. Back to Gavin's point here, like we've seen teams defend Victor Wembanyama with wings lately, and the idea of Josh Hart defending Victor Wembanyama and then letting Karl-Anthony Towns kind of be a roamer, if that's exactly what they're gonna, if that's the starting lineup they're gonna stick with, is that what we think they're going? Is that the Knicks' best option here? Or are they better off putting size on size?
This is like, I think it's a coin flip between this because like, okay, I looked up how do the Knicks defend in the post, and let's say versus Giannis, which is like the only kind of comp I have physically, but Giannis is so much stronger than Victor, but Victor's also got a better shot, right? So it's kind of tough, but Giannis like ate Josh up, like he destroyed Josh. And that to me is a little bit of a worry. The better options, OG Anunoby. Since 2024, when Wembanyama has faced OG Anunoby, 65 possessions. It's not a huge sample, but it's not nothing. Victor's got a 37% true shooting percentage when guarded by OG in matchup data. Now that matchup data is wonky, but I think that's significant. Like I think actually OG's got he has the strength to be able to, I think, hold up versus Victor. A big key for the Knicks has to be don't try and front. Don't try and front because unless you have Mitchell Robinson on the floor, you're not going to have the weak side protection. Like Cat's not going to be able to make that rotation without fouling. And then he's going to pick up fouls. And now all of a sudden you've lost one of your weapons. So don't try and front here. The other interesting question here, honestly, is Victor's coming off of that injury. He came off the bench in the game versus the Thunder. Do they keep that same rotation? Does he start? Like, I'm kind of curious to see what the Spurs do with him, as well as what kind of minutes restriction he's on coming off that injury, Haize.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing to watch. I think they'll be fine either way in this game. When it comes to the Spurs, the Spurs and the Knicks, I want to throw this one real back quick to you, Matt. What's the biggest mismatch though that the Knicks have for the Spurs? Like maybe we'll talk. Maybe Wes has that plan. Maybe let me not step into Wes's content.
No, it's all good. Let's go.
I think that the real problem there is that the Spurs individually, like they're only 53rd percentile defending the pick and roll when you account for passes. And when you go to ISO, that drops to their 23rd percentile. Spurs defense actually hasn't been awesome. And you're like, well, yeah, Victor Wembanyama has been out for sure, for sure. Right. And Victor will change the course of this game. But one of the advantages of not having Robinson on the floor is to be able to go the other way here. And all right, if Victor is going to guard Cat, you can space Cat to the 5, and you've got the same kind of problem that the Knicks have, which is now you can attack with Brunson getting downhill against this defense. And I'm not sure that the Spurs have the kind of defenders that they need to be able to contain here either. Part of this is also just like, look, Brunson went up against a Magic defense that is ferocious and awesome and gets over screens and does everything, and he's cooked everybody in cut play. So their biggest advantage is that Jalen Brunson is unstoppable right now, and he might be enough for them to get the win.
I do think the Jalen Brunson point is a good one. I do think the Spurs have to have a solution for that, whether it's Stephon Castle or if it's just a bunch of bodies that they're throwing at Brunson. Are they going to play him straight up one-on-one? I think is another interesting option because you've seen the Knicks now. They're gonna get most of their work done with the pick and roll between Brunson and Cat, but they've also thrown out some interesting looks under Mike Brown, right? With Mikal Bridges running stuff in horn sets and OG Anunoby running some stuff from the side and the corners. So we'll see what they do, but at the end of the day, it's still Victor Wembanyama at the basket. And the big question, I think, we saw him guarding Chet sometimes against Oklahoma City. Other times they had him like way back in the paint, just pre-switching everything, kind of just switching on to whoever was in the corner so that he could just hang at the rim. And I do think that that's an interesting thing when we talk about the Wemby matchup part of this. Defensively, is he going to be on Cat? Is he going to be on Hart or a non-shooter? Or is he going to do what he did against Oklahoma City and basically just take whoever's in the corner so that he can sag back? Haize, Like, if Victor Wembanyama is vaporizing the paint the way that he did against the Thunder, so that they could advance to this part of the championship game here, do the Knicks have any chance?
I don't see how they do. I mean, of course, there's a chance, but I just don't see how they can overcome that. Like, the Knicks are a good basketball team, make no mistake about it, and they're better than maybe what a lot of people were thinking coming into the season. But I just don't think they're equipped to deal with that at all.
I don't know. Again, we're gonna get into kind of when Wemby plays. Two, Brunson's so good at drawing fouls. If he's able to compromise the defense by just drawing and getting to the line, it's the Knicks. It's about the margins. Can you generate more free throws? Can you generate offensive rebounds, which is so huge for them? And like Wembanyama's, I don't think is an elite rebounder yet. He's taller than everyone, which helps everyone ever. Like anyone, he's taller than everyone in the history of man. But I also think that that's a way for them to kind of negate some of that advantage. An interesting kind of question here, honestly, with the way that the Spurs play with so much speed with their perimeter guys. Which team wants this to be an offensive game? Like, which team wants to kind of play more defense? Which team wants it to kind of be an offensive showcase, or is it both teams? I don't really know the answer to that.
Haize, what do you think? And then we'll get to the next segment.
If it turns into an offensive showcase, I still lean the Spurs. I think I lean Spurs way on that.
We're going to talk about who has the edge and make our predictions next here on Locked On NBA Daily. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into that moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly, player props update as guys heat up, and you could bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. We're about to talk about who has the edge in Knicks Spurs for the NBA Cup Championship. Well, according to FanDuel, the Knicks are 2.5-point favorites over the Spurs. Tune in for our predictions at the end of the show. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. All right, so other matchups, other battlegrounds that we want to talk about in terms of this game. We mentioned the Jalen Brunson thing, but I want to go back to a point, I forgot who made it, but about the depth of these rosters. When we're looking at who has the edge in terms of depth? Is it San Antonio, or is it a Knicks team that is down Miles McBride and Landry Shamet? Maybe the answer is easy there, Haize.
I think it's the Spurs team. I think they have the depth answer here. I think in what they do and how they all play into, like I said, they have 6 players averaging over a steal per game. They have 8 players averaging double figures. Like, this is a very deep Spurs team. I'll go Spurs here.
I'm gonna go Knicks. Here. I think Dylan Harper is kind of an X factor where he's so good in spurts, but he's still a rookie, so he's still kind of figuring stuff out. But like, Miles McBride has been so good for the Knicks, and they have so many more different types of lineups that they can build. And I think Luke Cornett is honestly really underrated in terms of what he's brought to the Spurs and how good he's been. And Julian Champagnie, after a kind of a slow start, has gotten it together. Both teams, I think, have a lot of interchangeable wings, but I do kind of like the guard depth on New York just a touch better. So I'll go with the Knicks here.
Now, Miles McBride is out, though, man.
Oh, that's true. That's right. I forgot about that. So I guess in this matchup, because of that, I would go Spurs.
So Spurs have the edge in terms of depth. What about coaching? Mike Brown versus Mitch Johnson. Haize.
I'll go.
Or Matt. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'll go Mike Brown just because of the experience. Like, Mike's coached in a lot of different environments and a lot of different teams and a lot of different spots. Mitch is just still relatively new, but I will say, like, I've been so impressed with what he's done this year. Probably needs to be higher in our coach of the year conversations. There's a lot of great coaches this season, but I do think that Mitch Johnson's been incredible. But Mike Brown is really good tactically, especially I think in these types of situations in particular. I really like Mike Brown whenever he's in a situation where tactics and game plan matter. I actually like Mike Brown quite a bit. So I'll give it to Mike Brown.
Yeah, I think you have to give it to Mike Brown. Like Mitch just hasn't done it long enough. Like, a couple of years we may have a different conversation on it, but right now I think you have to give it to Mike Brown. He's done it. He's won a title. It's Mike Brown.
In terms of best star, it's Victor Wembanyama versus Jalen Brunson. I think this answer is probably really easy if we consider both players fully healthy. I think it's pretty clearly Victor Wembanyama, but Victor Wembanyama, we don't know that he is clearly healthy. He might still be on a minutes restriction. Like Haize said, he might be coming off the bench in this game. So with all those kind of factors here, who has the advantage when it comes to best star, Haize?
I'll still say Wemby because Wemby forces you to change the way you play so much, right? Like as far as a defense, if he's on, Jalen Brunson is amazing. You guys know I picked him as like a quiet MVP candidate before the season started. I think the world of Jalen Brunson, but I think Wemby's just so unique and he's a unicorn. I think you have to pick the unicorn in the conversation like this.
I want to say Jalen because he's so much more polished, but like there was that play where like Victor bobbled the ball and like had to jump, like grab it over his head and then just turn around and calmly hit that fadeaway. He has like 7 plays of those a game where you're just like, what? He converts. The way to think of it from a more concrete perspective instead of just like awesome play is he takes low percentage opportunities and converts them into makes by sheer presence of his incredible athleticism. So I'll give it to Wemby, but Brunson is way more polished. I think a more interesting question here is Haize. All right, let's take Victor and then we take Jalen. Who's next? Who do you take next in this matchup?
That's a good De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, Fox.
Yeah,
okay.
Over Cat.
Yeah. And then who do you take after Fox?
I'd probably say Cat after Fox.
I might take OG.
You take OG?
I love OG. I just think he's such an impact player on both ends of the floor. Right.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Okay, so OG, then who? Like how many more guys until we get to Stephon Castle? Or Devin Vassell, or Keldon Johnson. How many more Knicks guys? Because you got Mikal Bridges, you got Karl-Anthony Towns.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can't. I don't think I can fight that right now, especially with Spurs guys being so young. I love Castle. I think Castle's great, and what he's doing this season is great. But I don't know if I trust him over the guys you mentioned yet.
Yeah, and so I think you can make the argument for Castle over Hart. So you're probably taking Cat. You're probably taking Cat, OG, if you haven't taken him yet, Mikal, Castle. Do you take Vassell then, or is there another? Do you take Mitchell Robinson or one of the Spurs wings?
No, I take Vassell over that.
Okay, so Vassell and then Mitchell Robinson. Mitch is a demon, man. He protects the rim so well.
He is.
He's a monster.
Cornette's been good too, though.
Yeah.
What?
Cornette's been really good for San Antonio this year.
Yeah, but as much as I think Cornette's great, and he really is, he's a really good weapon. Like Mitchell Robinson's a monster.
No, I mean, look, what you're getting at, Matt, is kind of the key to this whole thing, right? I think the Knicks' high-end talent, I don't know that there's a team in the league that, outside of Oklahoma City, that competes with the Knicks' high-end talent. It's when you get into the deeper parts of the rotation, you get into the deeper parts of the bench, you guys agreed that the Spurs had the better depth there. How much is the bench going to come into play here, or does Mike Brown just pull a Tom Thibodeau here, just play his starters a bunch of minutes? That's the other thing here. It's the NBA Cup. We respect the Cup around here, but how do these teams approach it? Do they approach it with the same level of respect? Does Victor Wembanyama really decide that he wants to go out and win this thing, or is it the Knicks with all the Jalen Brunson-y, Josh Hartness of it all? Do they come out with that sort of intensity and try to outmuscle the Spurs here? I think it's interesting. I definitely think it's interesting. I have one more question for you guys before we get into our predictions, though. Matt, you cover a great tough shot maker in Nikola Jokic. Haize, you've seen some great shot makers in Chicago in your lifetime. Not even like Michael Jordan, notwithstanding. Even like more recently, guys like DeMar DeRozan and guys like that.
Ben Gordon.
Definitely Ben Gordon.
Shout out to Ben Gordon. Who's the better tough shot maker between Victor Wembanyama and Jalen Brunson?
I think I got to say Brunson at this point. Like not to say like Wemby has probably the more eye catching ones, but if you're talking about consistently, I probably would still pick Brunson right now.
This isn't close. It's Brunson. It's Brunson by an absolute mile.
I don't know, man. Wemby makes some tough shots. You're probably right.
Okay, here's the thing with Victor. Okay, like he's shooting 36% from 3-point range, 39% from mid range, which isn't terrible. It's it's 28th percentile league wide at 39% mid range and 74% at the rim. Like the problem is that when Victor makes the shot, you're like, oh my God, that was incredible. So that's going to create this bias in your mind when if you actually kind of break down his game, again, he's just not polished yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just not this complete player. Him being 36% from 3 and 74% at the rim, though, that's terrifying.
Who would the NBA Cup championship matter more for, the Knicks or the Spurs? We'll talk about that and then make our predictions on the other side of this next on Locked On NBA Daily. Today's episode is brought to you by Skims. When Skims announced that they were making underwear for men, the reaction made perfect sense. People have been talking about Skims comfort for years. Most guys, though, stick to whatever they've been buying since college. The same fits, the same waistbands that roll, and a whole lot of settling. Skims Men's changes all of that. One upgrade, and it's obvious why everybody's been talking about it. And once I tried Skims underwear, I got the hype immediately. They're designed to feel good, fit right, and actually stay put. No slipping, no sagging, no adjusting. Just genuinely great underwear that make you feel confident and comfortable. My favorite pair is the cotton 5-inch boxer brief. What stood out right away was the fit and the fabric, soft, supportive, comfortable all day. They did not ride up, and they don't lose their shape throughout the day. They hit exactly where they're supposed to, right on the thigh. And whether you're working, traveling, working out, or just hanging out at home, these feel better than anything you've used before. I honestly didn't expect underwear to be a game changer, but Skims completely surprised me. Shop Skims now at skims.com, and when you place your order, choose podcast in the post-purchase survey and select Locked On NBA from the drop-down menu and let them know that we sent you. Plus, the Skims holiday shop is open, so if you're looking for the perfect gift this season, Skims has you covered. Today's episode is brought to you by Wayfair. The holidays always show up faster than we expect, and if you're still putting together gifts, last-minute decor, or getting your home ready for guests, Wayfair has you covered. Whether you need a quick room refresh, new bedding, or those final seasonal touches, Wayfair makes it easy to get what you need fast. Wayfair truly is your one-stop shop for everything home, with decor, furniture, kitchen essential, and gifts for every style and every budget, all delivered quickly and easily. Their selection is huge. Bedding, decor, kitchen gear, kids room updates. I was able to find everything all in one place. It's easy to shop by style. It helps you pick pieces that actually fit your home instead of guessing. Wayfair is perfect for gifting too. They have guides, tons of options, and something for everyone on any budget. No massive delivery fees, no stress. It's the best way to get your home holiday ready without running around to different stores. Get last-minute hosting essentials, gifts for all your loved ones, and decor to celebrate the holidays for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA Daily your first listen every day. The Locked On Podcast Network has a show for every team, so you're going to want to check out Locked On Knicks and Locked On Spurs for more breakdown of today's NBA Cup championship game. All right, before we get to predictions, who does this NBA Cup matter more for? Is it the younger Spurs team or a Knicks team that's trying to get over the hump, Matt?
Sadly, neither. So I don't think it means much to these franchises in particular.
I am shocked.
Knicks fans think of themselves as more important than they are. They have one championship in franchise history, but because they're New York, and they're important because they're New York. And like they have eyes on a championship. Like they want to be able to win the actual NBA championship. I do think it'd be really fun to have this in MSG. I just think it'd be really cool. And I love that Knicks fans having to celebrate something like that. That'd be great. But like the expectation is much higher because of New York. With San Antonio, it's like that team's won a lot of titles in the last 20 years. They've won a lot of titles and they have bigger aspirations. And much like OKC, it's like, this is nice, but we have bigger things on the horizon, which is probably how it should be, right? I do think it's kind of a feather on the cap of Victor Wembanyama. Like if he starts off with, in his third season winning Cup MVP and making a playoff run, like I think is a really promising start. This is it's a good kind of marker along the way to see these guys. If you win a Cup MVP early, like I would say that winning Cup MVP should be much greater than winning All-Star MVP. And that to me is kind of the comparison. It's a marker along the way of a player's career towards greatness.
I think that it matters more to the Spurs, and I look at the players. You have so many players on this roster that are 24 and younger, and to win anything at this point and allow them to taste winning at any level higher than just a regular season game, that gets them hungry. And I think that that's what you want to see for a team. You want the team to taste winning. You want them to accomplish something, and then them to continue to understand what that feeling is like. So I think that, like, to Matt's point, the Knicks, they won a title, and those players won a title. Those players have been on playoff runs and battles and all those type of things. The Spurs team has not done that yet. So anything, I know the NBA Cup isn't like the biggest championship to win or anything like that, but I do think it is something to be said about young players accomplishing anything this early on into their career, and then what that can mean and the confidence that can give them over the second half of the season.
You could argue that the biggest game for the Spurs in this NBA Cup has already happened when they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. That might have been the biggest thing for them already. And obviously getting Victor Wembanyama back in the middle of it, which helped them win that game. Prediction time. Spurs, Knicks. FanDuel has the Knicks as 2.5-point favorites, but we're going to pick the winner here, Haize. Who you got?
I got the Spurs winning this one. I think the Spurs are going to win this. I think it's going to be a close game. I think this is going to be a game that comes down to the wire, and I'm going to go ahead and call it. It's probably not going to happen. Spurs win this on a Wemby game winner.
Wow. Ooh, nice. Bonus prediction. I like it.
Nice. Knicks by double digits. They're gonna win this game pretty comfortably. I can't really understand the both of you seem like very high on San Antonio and very low on the Knicks. The Knicks have been a better team the entire season with Wembanyama, without Wembanyama. Like, there's really no split where you look at this and say that they're better. The Spurs don't actually. This is what problem. They don't have anything that they are elite at. They get downhill. I think that De'Aaron Fox again is like in a very good position to maybe steal Cup MVP here. But other than that, it's like the Knicks do a lot of things well. They shoot a lot of threes at a very high percentage. They offensive rebound the crap out of the ball. Like, they have all these things that they're very good at, versus the Spurs are just like pretty good at a lot of different stuff. The Knicks are a much higher team. A good kind of comparison for this is over at Cleaning the Glass, they have expected wins. Like, we base a lot of this off of, well, the Spurs have won so many games based off of the Pythagorean stuff, which is your point differential. Like, how good are you actually? The Spurs are 3 wins ahead of where they should be. They should be 3 wins worse. Knicks should be about a win better. The gap between these two teams is much larger, I think, than the perception. I think the Knicks roll tonight by 10 plus.
I think one of the things that could separate this more than you're giving credit for is that the Knicks are a really good offensive rebounding team, but the Spurs are the best defensive rebounding team in the game of basketball, and I want to see how that's going to disrupt the Knicks offense.
I may have given out Spurs to win the Cup at 250-1 last month on buckets, so that might be influencing my decision here.
So the Bucks beat the Thunder last year, the up-and-coming Thunder team. The Bucks won that one. 2 years ago in the first NBA Cup, the established Lakers beat the up-and-coming Indiana Pacers. We have a trend here. Established veteranish team versus up-and-coming team. The Knicks, if this pattern holds, will win this game. 3-point shooting to me is the biggest battleground of this thing. If the Knicks threes go in, they win. If they don't, I think the Spurs win. That's a hedge. You guys both picked. I'm going to make a pick. I'm going to go against the pattern. I'm going San Antonio. I think I'm a prisoner of the moment, guys. What Wemby did against the Thunder, I can't pick against them at this point.
What I love is that any opportunity that Wes has to go against the other top East teams, you could just you see him start to, and then he's just like, I can't, nope. Can't do it. Boston really should win this game, but I'm not going to pick them. You know, the Bucks probably should be good with Giannis, but they're not going to. It's incredible watching it.
It is the thing I do. The magic has been revealed. That'll do it for us today here on Locked On NBA Daily. If you like what you heard today, subscribe to Locked On NBA wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Thank you to Matt and Haize for their expertise every day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network your first listen. We'll see you right back here tomorrow when we talk about the winner of the NBA Cup here on Locked On NBA Daily.